Richard Del Connor is the philosopher poet of the hippie generation.
Hello there. Welcome to another podcast of the Richard Del Connor Philosopher Poet series. And Richard Del Connor is doing a lot more than philosophizing. He's singing his heart out and playing all kinds of instruments. And so one of the websites that I need to reference this album on, which I was just checking, is not done. But I got to move on, and so I'll catch up on it later. And this is hanging up all my podcasts because I need to get them all done, get the descriptions, put them up there, and get them ready to post. And then I got to move on to 3 other series of podcasts I want to do right now. So I need to finish these up, even though the websites aren't quite done yet. So my apologies for being too poor to hire somebody to do this. That's, I guess, what I'm really apologizing for. I don't have time to do everything. It's impossible. But anyway, that's just that's almost an excuse. Here we go. We are at ShaolinDigital.com now. Shaolin, you better know how to spell that by now. Me being a Shaolin Kung Fu master, I got in here a little early in the web game in 1984 and managed to get a bunch of Shaolin websites. I actually started my websites in 1999, but I could have started a little earlier because there was one girl, and I wish she would have just taken the classes, and then I might have bartered with her later. But she says, well, I want to do your classes, but and rather than paying, I'll build you some website. I'll build you a website. And I don't know, we didn't negotiate on that. And I remember feeling a little guilty that I didn't kind of negotiate that better or something, but I guess she didn't want the classes that bad because if she was building websites, she probably could have afforded the classes. So I'm not sure what to make of that, really, how that would have worked out in the long run. But maybe she would have built a website and then stole it. I don't know. But I could have started even a few years earlier than that, is what I'm saying. So 1999 is when my website started. Shaolin Digital didn't start till after the turn of the century, I don't think, because I realized I was making websites for other people, and I needed to do all kinds of art and digitizing, and that it's a labor, and I could hire people to do it or get paid to do it, and so I kind of separated it as a company, ShaolinDigital.com. So this has been my website. ShaolinCommunications.com oversees everything, pays all the hosting fees, and keeps everything together in that sense. But ShaolinDigital.com then is one of the things under the umbrella of my 50 websites. It's one of those ones that's in the umbrella, but it's near the top. It's near the top because it's very highly functional, and I do lots of digital work, so it should be even more functional, or at least I should be more rewarded for my work in Shaolin Digital. Here we go. I'm at the home page. Now, there's some links up here: home, about, a blog, a discography, and then there's 4 things in the discography, and then there's the webmaster. I actually, because WordPress is so slow and we don't want to wait for these pages to load, I actually loaded them up here so we can pop through them a little faster. So the first one is a home page. I'm the singing webmaster, Rich Connor, singing webmaster of Shaolin Digital. In fact, Rich Connor, I was thinking would be my senior name. Rich Connor. I look him, for a name of me, if I was, could be like a soloist, a singer soloist with a piano or accompaniment or something like that. I could and I would if I had if the situation was right. So anyway, Rich Connor was me as a crooner, is the way I looked at it. May not even ever happen. But anyway, I've been trying to figure out some name or way to market that would work. Nothing I do works because I'm just not advertising. Maybe everything I do would work if I just paid for some advertising. Okay, but let's see what it says real quick, because it actually doesn't have everything I want it to, as I'll point out in a second. My life is art. I make art to depict life. Depict my life, not just life, but my life. And that's real accurate. It says read more. If I click on that, what happens? Oh, did I just go to the top? I don't know. That didn't really work. This is one of my more recent websites that I built in the last few years, last 5 years or something maybe. Do I have a copyright thing on the bottom? It says copyright 2025, but I know I built it a few years ago, but it looks like I've updated it somehow, or maybe it updates automatically that year. But over here, there's Shaolin Communications. Shaolin Digital is the web designer for all of the Shaolin Communications companies and projects. And then here's all my Kung Fu schools, which Shaolin Digital provides all kinds of stuff. And then here is, that should be highlighted more. I think this should be white here. I can't really read that. What does it say? Tai Chi something. And then a rock and roll website. Oh, Tai Chi websites and rock and roll websites. Yeah, that should be in white. I can't read these things. So my Tai Chi websites are Tai Chi Magic and Tai Chi Youth. And then my rock and roll websites are American Zen, Buddha Z, Kung Fu Cowboy, Shaolin Records. So actually there's Scorpion Resurrection too. So I could add that. No one works as hard as Rich for the amount we pay them. I don't know, just a testing out. Does Rich work as Richard? Is my real name. Rich's boss, the CEO at Shaolin Communications. See, I'm talking about myself. I'm playing the role of several people here. Jesse, the sales rep at GoDaddy. There's somebody who doesn't. This is a real thing. He says, you don't consider yourself a webmaster, but I deal with web designers all day who have only made a dozen websites. You've made over 100 websites, which is true. So I could call myself a webmaster if I wanted to do it, and I wasn't so unhappy about doing it, instead of doing it reluctantly. And last one was a quote from me, it looks like. Maybe I can train my kids to take over my websites. That was one of my goals. I even bought them some books and started to train them, but now they have no desire to read or write. They became very normal. Down here, enjoy my websites. My websites are my gardens. All right, so anyway, there's my homepage. That's kind of cute. It looks nice. I like the way these things flow around. This is a WordPress website, so remember, they load slower. Okay, so then we go to the About page. And here it says Internet Enlightenment. And these are all my Shaolin companies that I've got, or at least most of them probably. Rich Connor, singing webmaster at the Coconut Teaser in Hollywood, 1991. There I am. Kind of remember that gig because of that thing on the microphone. I used their microphone. Usually I bring my own, so I don't have to have anybody else's spit in my mouth. So that I covered it with a hanky, it looks like. Anyway, where were we? There, I see a typo, I think. But anyway, there's talking about my stuff. Oh, these are cute, these pictures here. This is what my, this is my cabin. This is when I was living up in the Angeles forest. These are my wall units. I could tell because of the age of my son here and the paneling on the walls. I was living in a cabin. And here's my son beating on a drum. I always thought he would be a drummer. He could have been a drummer. I mean, both my kids could have been musicians if they wanted to. I trained them to be. But it turns out they didn't have a musician's soul. So when it came to really wanting to play music, when both of them got off on their own, they had no desire and they don't play music. It's just not in their hearts, not in their soul to play music. Which is a shame. I didn't know that. I thought that anybody could be trained to play music and want to play music, but you're born with it or you're not. That's all there is to it. You could train anybody like a monkey to play some music, but in order to be a musician, you got to have it in your heart and your soul. And it turned out my kids didn't have that, and I didn't know that because I was having so much fun with them and we were playing, and they had natural talent. They could have been musicians. So I thought everything was going to be really great. And then they said, no, we don't want to write. We don't want to play music. Anyway, I lost them. And, and lost all my dreams. Wasted 20 years of my life. Wasted all my good years. I gave the best years of my life to them, and they threw it in the trash. Here's the blog. There's my daughter. Back when we were actually working together, you're doing Kung Fu. That's a Kung Fu move here, that crane wing. That's a good crane wing, too. She had talent. She could have been a Kung Fu master, but she didn't want to. She gave that up for other things. Okay, and then, let's see. These are just the headlines of the post, so then you click on them for more information. So there's kind of cool stuff here. I have done some posting, not much, not nearly enough, because this is where I need to put the posts about the album, the book, and the music movie. I should put posts in here because Shaolin Digital is doing all the work to make these like this. These covers, these book covers, these are done by Shaolin Digital. I hire myself for nothing. Okay, so let's see. And then we go to the discography. I should put the album in here along with some other albums. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that's not in here. But I started it. I started it. There's a bunch of stuff in here. So there's some cool stuff here. You can see this layout. This website's totally different than anything else. So I've been trying to make something that people would enjoy. Under that discography, there's this thing about the NFTs, because Shaolin Digital is also in charge of all my NFTs now. So Kung Fu Outlaws is all these NFTs I made here. And these NFTs were a present from when I graduated Wong Jack Man School back in 1998, I think, 98. And I was up there at the school. I've been going there for a few years, 4 years or so. I graduated up there, and I'd go there for the Chinese New Year's and stuff. And anyway, when I actually got certified and graduated, they got me a chop. They got me my chop, and they also gave me this NFTs. This artwork. Well, it was somebody else. There was different. This was a gift from somebody else. But these NFTs, this artwork is all Chinese art. These are actually cut. These are wood paper cuts. And so I scanned them all, and they were on different colored papers, but I made them fancy by adding colors to using Photoshop. I took these scanned and made them into artworks beyond what they are. It's just a paper cut. Okay. And then those are cool NFTs. Those are not music NFTs. Those are art NFTs, and they're really awesome. You should get some of them. Pick a few of them you like, and there you go. And then a roadmap. So 2022 looks like the last time I updated this. This is 2021 when I got cancer. So when I couldn't do a lot of stuff, I was still studying and making the NFTs and working on. I was doing stuff that I could do sitting on my butt or laying down. And then what's this? Oh, this is the book, Evolution of a Shaolin Monk. I wrote this when I was hospitalized for 6 months at Martin Luther King Hospital down in Compton. Lots of stories about that, because living in Compton is a story all in itself. But yeah, that's when I wrote this book. I actually wrote a couple of books when I was there. There's another one I wrote. Which one was it? Anyway, Evolution of a Shaolin Monk. We'll leave it at that for right now. So there's a book you should get. Oh, this picture, by the way, there's my daughter. This is one right before we left Utah. And so she would be about 7 years old, maybe right there. 7, 8 years old. Okay, and then where are we at now? These are rock opera NFTs. Okay, so more NFTs from the rock operas. These are where I make the music NFTs. So I need to make this easier to understand, but it's kind of interesting. I break it all down to you and how the royalties and how I divided them up. I was trying to make it into something so where collectors would actually understand what they are. Some, like some I'd press 1,000 and some I'd only make 13. So these 13 would be like collector NFTs. And then the rest of them you'd use to be able to basically, because you like the art, or you can use them to get into my Discord channels and get into the metaverse and use them to get into different levels. So there's all kinds of ways that you will be able to use them in the future. But here's a whole bunch of information about them. And these are the different NFT collections. And if you go to my crypto websites, my Web3 websites, where you can see the galleries, my NFT galleries. All of these different galleries are, well, some of them exist and some of them are planned to exist and could exist if I got around to digitizing and creating the NFTs. I got the artwork. I just got to turn it into NFTs. So they're kind of broken down into different categories, and then there's all these galleries. And then this explains about all the content and stuff I can put in them and links and I had all kinds of plans. I could have even made my own coin. More about that, the coin wouldn't have been a collector's coin. It would have been a coin that you buy as a token to show that you did something. And anyway, that's a topic we won't be addressing because I don't know if I'll ever do that. Now I've got other ways to do it. I'm going to use the NFTs instead of coins, but this is a book I wrote. This is, I don't like the font or the background. I have to lighten the background, do something else. That color's kind of nice, but this doesn't work. This webpage does not work with this color scheme. But this Gnostic Gospel by Richard Del Conner. This is something that came out during my chemotherapy. I don't know if I was because I was dying or because I was studying a lot of Gospels. I honestly didn't think that I had written these or put so much creativity in them. I thought I was basically taking the Gospel of Thomas, I think was one of my favorites. And I was just kind of like rewriting it in modern times in my own way. Somehow those kind of sunk into my brain, and then I let them out in different ways. And so I created my own little gospel here. And I call it the Gospel of James with a Z, so nobody will think that I'm actually trying trying to create a forged antiquity. But I honestly don't know how I did it. I don't know where they came from. I've spent a lot of time looking for, I think somewhere in my storage boxes, I'll be able to find the handwritten stuff where I originally wrote them. I did them on yellow paper. It was this one little thing that came out. I wrote this book in like, I don't know, what, couple of days. It just like poured out of me, and then it was done. I was meditating, and it just came out. There was 114. So this is a book of NFTs is what this is. The Gospel of James is actually 114 NFTs, and every NFT is one of the Gospels. No music on this one, just the visual. You get a gospel and a picture, and that's what these NFTs are. But that's how you buy the book. So you buy all 114 NFTs, and you get the book. So that's kind of an expensive book if they're only $1 a piece. So is that it? Oh no, I got one more, the Webmaster one. And the Webmaster page looks like a contact page, which I have updated. It's got my current phone number and stuff, but really I should probably take my email address and my phone number off this page because I've got a contact form if it works. I don't know, click on this. Yeah, it looks like it works because it's sensing that all these fields are empty. So it looks like I have a form that I set up so that it'll actually work. So I really probably should not give people away this thing unnecessarily, my email and phone number. Another little update I can do. Okay, so there's our Shaolin Digital podcast for the guitar songbook. This thing will it be offered here? Where? Oh, it'd be in the discography. So it will be here eventually. It should be here. It could be here, and it will be here, along with a lot of other things that aren't here on this website. But it's a cool little website. It looks kind of cute, and we'll have, of course, the guitar songbook, and we'll have the music movie. And we'll have the album. So you need the album. You need all three of those things. The album, the music movie, and the songbook. Get all three. Well, you could probably, if you're never, ever going to, but there are pictures. There's cute pictures in the songbook that you won't see anywhere else. So if you're really a collector and you like me, then you might want to get the book just so you can get some of those pictures. Might be worthwhile. I have to look at it on in that context and see, would it be worth for a collector to buy for just the pictures? But there's pictures you probably won't see anywhere else that I threw in there to fill in the blanks and make it balanced. So I threw in a lot of pictures. There's a lot of pictures just stuffed into that book. So, okay, so there we are. Get all three, but really you need at least if you're not a musician, then maybe the album and the music movie. You get those two things, and you get these podcasts. But if you're a musician and you think you'd ever want to try to play these songs, or you want to give it as a present to somebody who likes my music, and then buy the songbook and give that to them. Where was that? Right here. So get the songbook. As you can see, it looks a lot like the album. I thought I was using a different picture, but no, this is the same picture from the album. I'm sure of it now. I thought I'd used a different picture, which is because it is supposed to be the album. So I took the album picture and kind of stretched it out and made it into a book size format here, and of course changed all this. And let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Hold it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It looks like I am missing that one song. There's one song missing here on both of these, because it is the album cover. Yeah, so it is basically this graphic and the same artwork. Okay, I was just curious, because there's one song missing in this song list. Okay, so where are we? I guess we're done. We're out of here. So let me say goodbye, and go check out my website, shaolindigital.com, my digital garden. And I'd like it to be something, and like I say, eventually you can have, I'll have NFTs here. In fact, there used to be an NFT page. I think that there's more pages underneath this. Sometimes I stack my websites. There's an HTML website underneath this WordPress website. So if the WordPress website was to totally go to crap, this other one that's underneath it would still exist, my old-fashioned HTML, because Shaolin Digital did exist before. In fact, just for fun, there's a way I might be able to make it pop up. If I come up here and then go index.html, that page doesn't exist in the WordPress. So let me see if that works. If that other site is underneath here. Nope, it says that page doesn't exist. So maybe it's not underneath there, but that's what I've done with some of my websites. Okay, but it looks like that page doesn't exist. So, yeah, if the underlying website was there, I think that would be there. Okay, so I got 2 more podcasts to do to wrap up this series of podcasts for the Oboy album. So anyway, I got to go to Shaolin Pictures and then do a summary podcast, and then I'm on to my next. I'm going to Kung Fu Cowboy podcast. I'm so excited. I'm really excited to do that. All right. See you later. Richard Del Conner, Kung Fu Cowboy, Buddha Jen Shan Long Ears, and have a great time. And buy something. Buy something from me. The only reason I'm poor is because nobody's bought anything. I mean, people are willing to buy all kinds of stuff that I think is disgusting and horrible music and things that I think are just really terrible and abysmal. And I really think I've got better books and better music than a lot of things people are buying. So I'm not going to make any excuses or apologize for what I've done, because I think I've done some great stuff, and I think that you guys should appreciate it more. You guys should be apologizing to me for not finding me sooner. I've been poor all my life. So find me, buy some stuff from me, help me to elevate to a higher level. Yeah, it's amazing what I've done being a poor person who's never made. Well, I say I've never made $50,000 in a year, but I'm not sure if I ever made over 40,000. If I did, it was when I was married and my wife made a lot of money in our combined income. But my income, my personal income, has probably never made 40,000. I want to think I made 30,000. I want to think that. I know I've been in the 20s. I might have hit 30,000, but that's how poor I am. And I'm 71 years old. So that's why I don't have a lot of stuff. Well, I got a lot of stuff now because I've just decided, hey, I'm going to die. So I just got a bunch of credit cards. That's my challenge every month, is paying my credit card debt. But I decided, man, I can't die just saying I wish I had this and I wish I had that. So right now I actually bought everything I want. I got all kinds of great equipment, although I got to replace a lot of stuff now, wearing it out. But yeah, I got my guitars and equipment, and I got a new amp, and I got a tuner, and tuner was like $100. But I got everything I want, really good quality stuff, and I bought all kinds of tools for rebuilding my guitars so I can do them. I got everything I want right now. I really do. So the only money I need is to buy a car and a house and get off food stamps. I got to survive now and pay my credit cards, which is quite a challenge because I got a huge credit card bill. I bought studio lights and a camera and green screen equipment, all kinds of stuff. I literally have everything I need to make a movie, and I got lots of lights, and batteries for the lights. I got everything I need. I don't have to rent any equipment. Good sound equipment, a boom mic. I got everything I need to make a movie, and whatever else I need, music and videos or whatever. So I just need people to help me, because there's only so much I can do by myself, but I got everything I need as far as that goes. But I need a house, because I could be homeless again. Trump's trying to make me homeless. They want to take away all my benefits. They want to, Elon Musk needs more money, so they want to take it from me. This guy who's never made $40,000. They want to take away my money. All right, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. I guess I'm sorry well, maybe hopefully not you. If you're smart enough to be watching me, maybe you're not one of the dumb people who are ruining this country and got rid of the education department in our government even. But there's half of our country who's trying to make the whole country stupid and poor. And then there's the other half who's trying to make everybody healthy and happy. So there's the Democrats and the Republicans. They are like the rich against the poor, and unfortunately, of course, the Democrats have taken a lot of money from rich people, so they're not as on our side as they could be if they would give up their anyway, we won't get into that. But the Republicans are definitely evil. I can't say anything good about the Republicans. They are evil. They are doing things to hurt people. They know they're hurting people, and that's the definition of evil. If you do something knowing it's going to make their life unhappy or cause them suffering, then you're evil. That's it. And now if you're doing things to make people's lives better and happier, then you're good. So you're either good or you're evil. You're working for God or you're working for the devil. So it's black and white. It really is. That space in the middle means you're probably doing good things and evil things. And who needs that? You make up your mind. Are you good or evil? Okay. See you later. Richard Del Conner signing out. I got 2 more podcasts to finish this series.